April Fools. I'm so stupid. So, yes, I was just mouthing the words there. I was being an idiot. So, yep. So now you can hear me. So what I was saying is I scheduled this originally to be just an Ask Jax, because I know there's been things developing now that I'm back in Steven's good graces. So, so this 1 hour is so you can, ask me whatever you want. But obviously, when I scheduled this today, I didn't know the state was going to respond. So I'm not going to go over reading the state's response because I already did that on the Steven Avery project. So if you want somebody reading it to you, pull up that video. And but we're not surprised. Nobody should be surprised by this. Of course, the state's not going to go, yes, let's give them another trial. And I'll go over, I haven't had time to go over it, to read it a second time since I had read it live on Steven Avery project as soon as I got it, because, there's some big things in there, mistakes that I think there, and things that just pissed me off. So when I have a minute to go over it again and take notes with it, we can do that. But yeah, just fire away. What do you want to talk about? So I guess while I'm waiting for anybody to ask me a question, let's discuss my contact with Steven. So out of the blue on Wednesday, Steven called me. I wasn't expecting his call. I have not spoken to him since the end of October. And that was around the time, too, that Steven had said that he wanted there to be a truce between all the different pages. And I had said, that's fine. There can be a truce as long as Carla doesn't do fundraisers for herself. And so I told Steven to have Carla call me, and she called me the next day, and I told her no fundraisers, and she had said, oh, absolutely not, no fundraisers, because I don't even want to deal with that and all the drama that surrounds it. So it's all good, right? And then within a week, she's got 3 different GoFundMes. And so then one of the moderators from Steven Avery project, he doesn't really come around very much anymore. And he like, I don't think he's ever in gossip. He tweeted something about Carla's fundraisers. And so then Carla came at me blaming me for Michael's tweets. But then I just turned around and fired back at her about her stupid GoFundMes. And so she said, I'm going to tell Steven. And then I didn't hear from Steven again. So I'm like, all right, he's mad at me because I know even though Steven for 2 years talked very negatively to me about Carla, at the end of the day for him, that's his family. So I wasn't surprised by it at all. But it also didn't stop me from doing what I do. Steven Avery project is about supporting Steven. I believe in his innocence, and I don't have to be his BFF to believe he's innocent and was framed and continue to bring awareness to his case. So I've just been operating these 6 months like that. So then all of a sudden on Wednesday, he called me out of the blue. I talked to him, and we have not discussed what was said to him to turn him against me, because I really don't care at the end of the day, whatever, I know those people are going to continue to do whatever they can to poison Stephen against me. I don't care. So all went well with my call with Stephen. And the reason he called me is one of the people that he talks to is somebody who has been a part of all the different groups, and they've been watching for a while, and they feel that I'm not the horrible person that some people make me out to be. And so they've been talking to him for a while about he should talk to me and get my side of it. So he finally called, and he didn't ask me my side of anything. We then just talked like nothing had ever happened. So, and he did say that the people who have been causing all the drama and saying the things about me are people that have been on his visitors list. It's quite the coincidence that they just got added to his list shortly before I then don't hear from Stephen any longer. So, coincidence? I think not. And so when you get added to a visitors list, it has to remain as is for 6 months. So you can't just remove somebody right away. They have to remain on your list for those 6 months. And so he is removing those 2 people from his list. And he said he's going to send out the letter to me, that he would be mailing it out today for me to fill out to go on his visitors list and for me to start visiting him. He asked me to make a post announcing that he was removing those people and adding me. I said, as usual, if I make that post, people are going to attack me for it. And I said, and also, the people who already hate me will say I'm lying. And he says he's told Sandy. And these are 2 people that they got their contact with Stephen through her, because they are friends with Sandy. So he said he did tell Sandy he is removing her friends off his list. So if people are going to doubt what I'm saying, then they can ask Sandy about it. Will it happen? I don't know. It's what Stephen said. Until I get the file, the paper for me to fill out to go on his visitors list, whatever happens, happens. I've now talked to him. So he called me Wednesday, and then he called me Thursday, but I was at an event, and I just noticed my phone was ringing, and I'm like, oh my God, that's Stephen. I have to answer it. And as I went to grab my phone, that's when he stopped. So I did not talk to him Thursday, but he called. He then called on Friday. I talked to him on Friday. I didn't talk to him on Saturday, and then he called me yesterday. So I've talked to him 3 times in the last few days. I asked him about, people always want to donate money. And so I told him how I do not trust his family, because I'm honest with Stephen. So I said, I do not trust his family, and I will not support any fundraiser that has his family attached to it. And how I tell people to donate either directly into his commissary or give the money to Kathleen. And he says he's fine with that. Yeah, just give the money to him. He doesn't see why it needs to go through anybody else. I told him how people out of the country had an issue with doing the online thing for his commissary, and how then I suggested people send the money to Kathleen. And he said, yeah, go ahead and do that. And I knew these answers, but then I asked them anyway to make sure. And because I know people talk about that they want to help Dolores. So I asked him if he wanted to give money to Dolores out of the money he has, can he? And he said, yes. Money that goes to Kathleen, he could tell Kathleen, because I said, like if his mom needs a prescription filled and doesn't have the money to cover it, so Stephen could then say to Kathleen, from the money that's come in, send his mother X amount of money to cover this prescription. So if you're looking to help Dolores, send the money to Kathleen Zellner. You can Google, Kathleen Zellner, then you click on the right side where it says cases, then click on Stephen Avery, and on that page, she lists there how to donate directly to his commissary or how to donate to her. So it's all right there on Kathleen's page. We also have that information posted in the announcements, pinned to the top of the page. So I'm never saying you have to give him money, or, it's not all about money. I know it can seem that way, but we get so many messages and posts asking where they can send money. So if you want to send money, that's where you're sending it to. It's not a requirement here or anything like that. I understand people have their own lives and their own bills to pay, and not everybody can, help Stephen. That's totally understandable. I am just putting out the information that if you want to do that, that's how you can do it. So to his commissary. He can also, his commissary account, that once he's freed, if there's a balance in his commissary, it goes home with him. So you don't have to worry that if he gets an influx of money, it's going to disappear. No, he gets to keep that money. So I asked him if there was anything in particular he needed, because sometimes people don't want to just give cash. They would rather order him a pair of socks if he needs socks. And he said he's all good. There's nothing he currently needs. But just put that money in his commissary and he'll use it as he wants. He's, not going to just blow it up. You know what I mean? So, and I had made the suggestion that, on Stephen Avery Project, and we just hit 198,000 followers today. So if those 198,000 people each donated $1, that's a lot of money for Stephen. And there's been people who have said, why would I give him money once he gets out? He's going to get this big payday. As I'm going to hold up the number one, you don't know if that's going to happen. We're all thinking positively that he's going to be freed, but you don't know. So that's first. Second, from his first case, he was free for 2 years and the depositions were just starting in his wrongful conviction suit. So there wasn't all that money. He was living in an ice shanty for a period of time. So there's no, yay, I'm walking out of the prison and into all this money. And if he's going to be filing a wrongful conviction suit, he can't now go on all these talk shows or do all these interviews that he gets paid for, because anything he says can be used against him in the wrongful conviction. So he has to be a suit. So he has to be quiet. So, but again, it's not, if you don't want to give him money, don't. I'm just giving that information out for the people who want to give money. Here is the approved ways to donate money to Stephen. And then I'm also going to do a car sticker. I'm not going to deal with shirts. I'm not going to do any of that stuff. blah, blah, blah. Car stickers, easy, cheap to do, and easy way for people to show their support of Stephen, to put the sticker on your car or wherever you want to put the sticker. I'm not going to advise you to like go put them on stop signs because, you know, that's illegal, but I don't control you. So if that's what you wanted to do with your sticker, but looking at a price point of like $10, and yes, I know people are going to say $10 for a sticker, but you got to think in terms of a fundraiser. So there will be money that will cover the cost of the printing of the sticker and the labor of having the sticker done and blah, blah, blah. And then there all and the cost of an envelope and the shipping cost. And then for there to be money to be a profit for Stephen. So, but I don't have the exact numbers on that yet because been a little busy today. Let me now scroll through your comments to see what questions. Has KZ posted anything about it yet? Brittany asks. Not that I know of. I haven't seen anybody say anything. Christina said, how did you and Stephen start talking again? Did you contact him? I've already answered that, which I'm sure that came in before I had answered it. I've been blabbing for a little bit. Deborah says, I'm so happy for you that Stephen made contact. Yeah, that's, you know, out of the blue. David says, are we expecting a response from KZ at all? Yeah, I'm assuming, you know, not the legal expert here, but I'm assuming there will be a response from Kathleen, but I have no idea what the time frame is on that. Christina says, I'm so glad you and Stephen are talking again. Julie says, there's a rumor, a motion to withdraw by Judge Flower. People are saying it's about Trisha Bushnell. Who is that? So Trisha worked with Kathleen early on, if I'm remembering the same person. And then I think she left Kathleen because she took a job at the Innocence Project or something. I can't remember. And maybe somebody else has already answered that. And I saw at one point that Lynn was on here, and I'm sure Lynn would know that answer. But I haven't seen any motion to withdraw by Judge Flowers, but I've heard, you know, we've seen people make posts about it. But I haven't seen anything. Miley says, hey, Miley. And I was just in GoFundMe today and just saw your donation in there, Miley. I forgot. I haven't looked in there, but thank you. And I know it was to help Melissa. And when I went and saw Melissa last week, I put $100 on her commissary and $40 on her food card. And then I gave $20 to her dad when I was at her dad's house the next day to help pay for gas, because they were going to go see Melissa this past Sunday, yesterday. But I talked to Paul today and he said they weren't able to go because the water pump went out in their car. So they've gotten that fixed and they plan on going to see her next weekend. So, yeah, so, and now I'm possibly going to see Melissa on Monday. That's not for sure yet. I just scored a ticket to an event in Springfield, Illinois that starts at 5:30 p.m. and her prison is down that way. So I may just go down early and visit with Melissa first before I go to an event that is honoring the wife of our new governor and our lieutenant governor, who those two women, criminal justice reform is their number one priority. So it's awesome that I'm going to get the opportunity there to try and push this stuff some more. Let me scroll. Hi, Renee. Julie says, I wonder who he will be removing from his visitor list. San says, what did I miss? Something big? Just tuned in. Maybe you answered. Karen says, who is he removing? I'm late. And Sand is saying, who is he removing? Now, Stephen told me he wanted me to make a post saying that he was removing them. And I took the high road when I made the post, and I just said, Stephen is removing some people from his list, and said he was adding me. So, I mean, anybody who's been here a while or listened or whatever, I'm sure you can connect the dots. I guess what I'll do is I won't say the names right now and see if somebody has figured it out. I know I tell you guys all the time I'm an open book, and also I don't care about drama, and I really don't care about these people because they've been horrible to me for years and years. But let's just see if somebody has figured it out. Tina says, thank you for all of your voice. Well, thank you for being here. There you go. See, I knew Lynn would answer that, would know the answer. Because Lynn's got a steel trap. She, where I've researched stuff on this case and I've known a whole bunch of things, and then after a while I forget it. Lynn remembers all. She's a wealth of knowledge. Thank you, Lynn. Natalie says, did you see the article Jerry Buting put out saying he always thought Brendan and Stephen were involved, but he couldn't accuse them in court or present them as alternative suspects because they didn't have a motive, were the star witnesses for the prosecution, and they weren't supplied with the forensic information recovered from Bobby's computer. That was never admitted into evidence, but one of the cops kept it on a disc. Yeah, and I posted the link to that, and I've heard Buting talk about that before. That's Denny, right? That's the whole Denny thing, that they weren't allowed to say any other suspects without having a motive, which I think is complete bullshit because you have no motive for Stephen, yet you're prosecuting him. Just stupid. Julie says, I didn't think there was a limit on how many people can be on his list, just how often he has visits and how many can visit at a time. No, there's a limit of how many people can be on his list. Kimberly says, you're doing so much good, not only for Stephen, but so many. I'm sorry people give you crap. Just know that those of us who support you far outnumber the few. Censored. Thank you very much, Kimberly. And I know it's, I'm used to being the bad guy. I'm used to not being liked, and I don't really care. I just, as Dory, right? It's Dory. Keep on swimming. Keep on swimming. It's not Dory. Is it Dory that says that? I can't remember now. So, Millie, hey, what's going on? I haven't followed for a few weeks. I was getting too engrossed, had to stop for a little. Hear ya. So, the big news today is the state responded all about the bones and wanting Judge Flowers recused. And, so they've got a whole bunch of bullshit excuses on why Stephen shouldn't be given a new trial or whatever. But that's expected. That's, you know that's going to happen. Hi, Peggy. Karen says, I'm confused here. Are you his mom or what did I miss? I am just a supporter. I'm no relation to Stephen. I am an advocate for the wrongfully accused. I am somebody who watched Making a Murderer. I live in Illinois, and I was like, oh my God, this is Wisconsin right by here. And I read everything, and things have just snowballed to bring me to this point today that I own. And I know people, the guilters and my haters, make fun of me for saying I own a Facebook page, but Steven Avery Project is my page that I run along with some trusted moderators like and Patty and Carrie, two of the moderators. They have been with Steven Avery Project longer than I have. Steven Avery Project was started by Curtis Bussey, and when he had had enough and was going to leave, it was Carrie and Patty that told Curtis that I would be the right person to take over Steven Avery Project. So Patty and Carrie do way more work for Steven Avery Project than I do. Like if you message Steven Avery Project, 99.9% of the time, that's Patty who responds to you. That's, Patty's good at that, and it's like, go for it. So we are a team here at Steven Avery Project. And so we're all just supporters. Julie says, can Jeff make window clings in his print shop? I don't know, Julie. He just makes stickers. Let me show you. Hold on one second. Pause. I don't know if you can see this one, but he makes this one. Can you kind of see it through the sunlight going through it? So it's a butterfly, and it says Justice for Melissa, and then says Melissa's Army. And so it's just white. And so like I have it on the back of my car. But it's a sticker. It's not a, cling thing that you can take off and put anywhere. But I've never asked him about window clings. Karen says, what happened with the family she doesn't trust? That is a long, sordid story. But bottom line is there are many people in the Avery family that are continually doing fundraisers for themselves. And I do not think that they should be making money off of Steven's misfortune. These are people that did not visit him in prison. They let him rot in there until Making a Murderer 2 came out. And now all of a sudden, when the first one came out. So now all of a sudden, once Making a Murderer is this big hit, now they want to go talk to Steven. And that's proven, because his visitors list in Touch magazine published it. And you could see that other than his parents and sometimes Barb, nobody else in the family went to go visit him. But now those are the people that think they're going to run Steven's life. So like his niece, Carla, who named herself the family spokesperson, Steven has told her over and over and over again that she does not represent him, that he wants her to take his name off of any Facebook page that she runs. But she doesn't listen to him because, he's in prison. So what can he really do? And if you follow Carla's groups, you'll see that she doesn't visit him. Why? Because he took her off his list. Now, he does still call her on occasion, but she doesn't visit him. And she doesn't visit him because every visit she goes on, she does it for the camera. So she can show the picture of, look, me with Steven. So Carla's not on his visitors list now. But prior to that, when there was no Making a Murderer fame, and she could have gone and visited him anytime, he didn't. She didn't. His brothers didn't. And these are the people now who want to be in charge of money coming in. And they want to have these GoFundMes for Thanksgiving dinner and Christmas dinner and to go to a restaurant. So, and then what initially caused the separation between Carla and I, because Carla and I were friends at one time, is Carla thought that she like held rank and told me if she told me to do something, I have to do it. Well, no. So Carla and her fans have been out to get me ever since. Rachel, hey Jax, could you remember what the time frame is for KZ to respond to the state hanging for that one and B, the court's reply? I always reply. Everything's always a 30-day or a 60-day or a 90-day, but I don't retain numbers. I don't know this legal stuff, so I don't know. So I don't know if she now has 30 days to respond to this for her rebuttal, and then there are times that the court, they have an indefinite time that they don't have to respond. It can take years before they respond. So I'm not sure how this goes, but if anybody out there is a real lawyer, not somebody who's just pretending to be one, and you know the answers on this, please let us know. Oh yeah, and Kimberly had said, can a pizza be delivered to him? No. Donna, are you making fun of me because I'm always saying I know I do. It's horrible. Maybe I need to start having like a swear jar, or somebody out there make hashtags of how many times I say during a live, and then I have to do what? Donate $1 for each to something. Jody says, how are his parents? And I said to Stephen that is our number one question that we get when I'm live, when people post on the page, private messages to the page. And so they're just like Kathleen said in a Twitter Q&A, their health is declining. So, they're getting older. So let's just hope Stephen gets out by the end of this year and that his parents will be there to greet him when he walks out those doors. Here's a reply. The family have lied about Jax, telling anyone who listens she ripped them off. That never happened. Some members of the family are the ones who actually ripped off supporters, starting GoFundMes that were abused, an Amazon wish list that became abused as well. Some members of the family have lined their own pockets in Stephen's name, so Jax will not promote them. Miley, boxers or briefs? You paid attention to the event. For me, or what do I like? Because men, briefs, those are creepy now. I know back, when I was younger, tighty whities were the thing, but I think briefs are creepy. But I also don't like the big boxers, so it's both. It's the boxer briefs. That's the winning one. Sabrina says, did that judge recuse herself? Not that I know of. I know people keep saying it, but I haven't seen any evidence of that. Julie said, I wonder if everyone wrote free Stephen Avery on a $1 bill would reach all around the country. Is it illegal? Well, technically, you're not supposed to write on currency. I believe the bills even say something. Hold on. Let me go get. Doesn't it say something on a bill that you can't write on it? I thought it did. Doesn't there. Doesn't there. Oh. Doesn't say it. But I love that idea, Julie. Let's see. Maybe I shouldn't show it on camera, because is that what happened to me with my trespassing thing? Is it was used against me that I did the live for you guys there. And if I write on here free Steven Avery and then show it to the camera, people will say, look what she did to a dollar bill. So I'm just going to do it, but not show you guys. Free Steven Avery. Oh, I wrote it on there. Nope, you didn't see it. No proof. Can't prove that I did it. Ha ha. So I like that idea. Make a post about that in Gossip, Julie. Make it its own thing, because I'm going to forget. And I think that would be cool. Like it. Sue says, God bless you. Thank you bunches for all you do for Steven. Well, thank you so much for being here, Sue. Deborah says, if anyone owns a business who has an electronic billboard, put up free Steven Avery. Yeah, didn't one go up in Australia? I thought I saw something about that. Sharon said, I would like a Melissa t-shirt and sweat, and can you send me the details, please? I messaged Paul but did not get a response. You're not going to get a response from Paul because Paul doesn't like writing. And if you watch the live that I did at his house on Steven Avery Project on Thursday, and so I brought him a big board for him to write stuff on. And well, you didn't get to see before we went live too, when he was writing all this stuff, he was asking me how to spell things. So he's not the best speller. So he doesn't like to write. And then he doesn't also understand how Facebook really works and everything. So, but that is something we discussed, because there are some of the where it says free Melissa on the front, and then the back says justice denied. And so, and honestly, those shirts Kathleen Zellner made for the family. And so, Paul has all the shirts that are left, and so they're just these weird sizes. And then there's these Melissa stickers, and then there's the Melissa wristbands, and then I also have Melissa hats. So we'll be putting that together too. And the way we work that is through the Cal Yuzinski GoFundMe. That once the money has been donated on the GoFundMe and I see proof that you've donated it, then we will send you the items. And that money goes directly to Paul and Cheryl. So, but I haven't gotten around to that yet. And there's people guessing about who he's removing. It is not family, because, so like the people saying Carla was removed like a year ago now, that Carla hasn't been on there. And it's not Barb. It's not a family member. Julie says, does she have their own Facebook group? Wink. Yep. Tom, yes, it's Dory. Swim. Thank you, Tom. Karen says, I'm lost. Forgive me. I'm happy you're on his side. Thank you. Oh, sorry. I'm lost all the time, so no worries there. And hey there, Cherry. Karen says, when I watched it, I was floored. When you watched what? All right. So this is somebody telling me I'm now an admin on a new page called Justice Reviewed. It's WMP Justice Review because that's a new thing I'm doing in my advocating for the wrongfully accused, as I'm coming on board with that organization to help other wrongfully accused people. Rita's laughing. Are you his mom? He is older. Yeah. Yeah. Stephen he's 55, right? Is he 55, 56? I am 47. So I'm not his mom. I know I look freaking horrible right now. Well, I think I look horrible all the time. I am so not photogenic. I hate pictures of myself. I hate looking at myself. But yeah, no, I'm totally not his mom. Nicola says, sorry, late to the live. Quick overview on today's response from state, please. So their response is, can I even remember what this bullshit was? I have it pulled up over here on my other screen here. So of course they're saying he should be denied a new trial because they're saying that everything Kathleen had in her filing was erroneous, that there is no fact on it, blah, blah, blah. They're claiming that there are bones still in evidence that could be tested. They're claiming that the bones they had were always available for testing, but nobody ever asked for it, and that you can't ask for it now. They're saying the rapid DNA testing is not approved, so you can't ask for that because you can't do that in a criminal case. They're saying, so what that we gave these bones to the Hallback family, and doing, why should we have to keep evidence forever? How could we be expected to keep it forever? So blah, blah, blah. But I said, I haven't gotten the opportunity yet to, I've only read through it the one time that I read it live on Stephen Avery Project. So I'll read through it again and take notes on what the important things are, and then put that out there on how because it's 19 pages of the filing, and then I have all the exhibits. I haven't seen anybody post the exhibits yet. So I may, I guess I should give that to one of the moderators because I don't know how to put that up. I don't know that kind of stuff. So every time I get these filings, I then give it to the moderators and they know how to post that stuff. I don't know how to do it. Sorry. I said I'm 47, right? I'm old and I don't know how to do that. Karen says, I can't see. She's in the dark. I'm sorry for asking that. Oh, don't be sorry. And I know I'm always in the dark because it's so bright out there. And I've done lives before where I've closed it. But I'm just of the thinking of going, you don't really need to see me. Why do you need to see me? It's gross. Kimberly thanking Patty and Carrie. There's Sky. Hey, Sky. Sky sees the window Jesus. Oh, wait, let me put that up a little bit so he's not cut off there. There's your window Jesus, Sky. Carla is Stephen's niece and Brendan's cousin. She is Chuck Avery's daughter. Karen says, I knew that would happen and that's sad. Wow. Karen said, of course they do. Sky said, can't you close your blinds when you do videos? I can. Do you guys really want to see me? Wouldn't you rather just look at Sky Jesus over there? See, I always go the wrong way. Window Jesus. I called the Sky Genius because Sky's the one that comments. Really? Do you guys really want to see me? Oh. Randall says, thanks for the background on the family stuff. Tactfully done. Well, that's a first for me. Yeah. Karen says, is his mom able or dad able to see him? They both can, but they don't as much as they would like because it's too hard on them. The trip is too hard on them. The walk is too hard on them. So they don't get to see him very much. But Stephen calls his mom a lot. They talk all the time. And Stephen says every time he talks to his mom, she says, when are you coming home? Every time. Karen says, my biggest fear is that his parents will pass before he gets out. I know. Let's not think about that. Let's throw that away. Dondi says, donate $1 to Stephen. Karen says it's not illegal, and I'm assuming to write on money. It's not? Okay. I mean, because I know I see it all the time. Both of these don't, other than what I just wrote on there. But I think it's a cool idea. Karen continues with, they would have to find out who it was. The chances of that are slim. Yeah, but now I just did a video on it talking about it, and Carla and her minions will go, it's right here in the video. So Miley says, don't do it, Jack. You'll get another stupid ticket, right? Natasha says, we don't have $1 bills here. Have to be a $5, LOL. Interesting. Yeah. I don't usually have cash, because now in the world of, the debit cards, I just always use my debit. I just happen to have this cash because a friend and I, it's one of those things, you go out to lunch together or whatever, and it's like, okay, well, one person's going to pay for it on their card because nobody has cash, or this person. So whoever does have cash is like, all right, I'll give you my cash and you pay for the rest on your card. So I happen to have cash right now. Shy. Do it, you gangsta. It's what Window Jesus wants. And Anne says, evil Window Jesus. And Julie says, do it for Brendan and Melissa too. Absolutely. Sue says, why is that sticker in your window behind you? It's not a sticker. Here, let me go get it. See? Maybe here, you just do it like this. You guys can watch this way. So it's a piece of plastic. It's a Halloween decoration. I used to run a haunted house. And when these things first became available at Halloween stores, because it makes it look like there's somebody looking out your window. And it freaked people out, and people complained and tried to get this off the market. So of course I had to buy one. Actually, I bought 2 of them. And so this guy's been hanging in my window ever since. So not a sticker, it's a string and a suction cup. So it's just always been there. Sky says, look at Window Jesus on the left corner and how he's looking into our empty souls. Kimberly says he is removing Sandy, I bet. And Peggy says Sandy. It's not Sandy either. But it's Sandy's friends. Sky, I'm admin to my bedroom. You're the boss of your bedroom? Jamie says, why would he remove Sandy? Did she do something wrong? Not removing Sandy. All right, Sky. Keep on going with your April Fool's jokes. You look like a L'Oreal commercial. Anne says, don't be so harsh on yourself. You look great, Jax. Really, no bullshit. Well, thank you, Anne. Natalie says, what happened to his other niece, Kayla, who testified and admitted she lied about things Brendan had told her? Is she in touch with Stephen or Brendan? I remember her crying on the stand and saying she made it up. Well, Kayla, Kayla is really close to Dolores. And, so she will even say Dolores is her best friend. And so when Dolores visits Stephen, it's Kayla who takes her. So chances are, if a picture gets posted of a Dolores visit, you see Kayla in that picture. So, and I talked to Stephen about Kayla because I know there were family members that had accused Kayla of recently stealing money, because that just seems to be the go-to move for the family all the time, is to accuse people of stealing money. And Stephen agreed that he think it was Kayla. He told me who he thought it was. But Kayla gets picked on by people a lot. I know back when I was friends with Barb and Carla, they hate Kayla. Hate her. So they said such horrible things about her. And she was just, she's just like Brendan. She was young. She has a low IQ. God, they pick on her so bad. So Kayla visits with her grandmother all the time, and when her grandmother goes to visit Stephen, Kayla is usually the one that's taking and helping her, because when Dolores goes, she's in a wheelchair. Haley Rose says, hi, Jax. I read the state's response. It was denied by the court. No, not the court. This is just the state's response. We have not heard from the court yet, as far as I know, unless something's changed while I've been live. Deborah says, love how you put emotions in when reading. Well, I can't help it. I get pissed. Sky says, finally. Randall says, you are bae, no hit on. Okay, somebody was answering on that. That it's just a state's response. Sky looked like something out of Baywatch. No. Haley says, cool, thanks. I thought so. I didn't understand why people were shouting deny all over the page. Yeah. And that's why, too, people were posting things and they're like, I heard it was denied. And it's like, I haven't seen anything that says that. So let's get what the filing is and go from there. Not that I'm any expert on filings, but yeah, that's not what it does. It's just the court's response, and it's to be expected that they're going to come up with reasons why everything in Kathleen's filing should not be should not cause a new trial or anything. So Greg said, last weekend we had about 60 of our friends watching Making a Murderer. It was like a movie night. So you have 60 supporters down here in Missouri. That's awesome, Greg. Kimberly says, strut your stuff, girl. No. Sue says, hey, wow, someone just answered that for me. Sorry about that. Don't say sorry. No biggie. Kimberly says she needs a fan to blow her hair in the wind. LOL, like a model. And Anne is scarred for life. Sue says that she wants one. If you're referring to Window Jesus, you might be able to find it on Amazon. But I got it at, I don't know if they're all over the country, that you can find them easily, but it's the Spirit Halloween stores. And Spirit is also, God, what's the name of that store? Spencer's Gifts or whatever. So maybe even look at Spencer's Gifts. Maybe they have it. BJ. So what are we waiting for now as far as Stephen and his case? Like, what's next? we're going to wait for the court to say if he gets a new trial or not. Lynn says, LOL, I think I basically know who it is. I said, Lynn, you're brilliant. Julie says, it's someone who was just there for a visit, I think. Julie said, Kayla was so hurt by being accused of stealing from her grandma. I bet it was Carla's son. That's not who Stephen thinks it is. Shelley says, I didn't see Mark Williams' name on the response. I thought he was brought out of retirement to help Fallon and Gone. I don't know about that. BJ says, can Zellner respond? God. Sorry. That's a message. Ugh. Gross. As far as I know, she can, but I could be wrong. I don't know. I don't know. So somebody who knows, let us know. Rachel, that thing is scary. Speaking of not scary, because this is not scary. Speaking of not scary, I saw the movie Us. It's not scary. So if there's anybody out there that is doesn't want to go see it because they're like, oh, it's scary, I don't want to be scared. It's not scary, but it's very interesting. And that's not me saying it's not scary because I'm somebody who ran a haunted house and it's harder to scare me. It's not scary, but it is such a good story. So go see Us. And I'm going to see Pet Sematary this week. Laura says, is Christy Lynn still helping you with the pages? She always has a lot of knowledge. Yes, but she is out of town. So she's not on as much currently. I think she's back home Wednesday. So yeah, she's not on here right now. Natalie says, thanks for answering the questions, Jax. You're a font of information, and Stephen needs more people like you to speak and fight for him who want nothing in return like some other people looking to profit. Still can't think who is being removed from his visitors list, though. More hints, please. Lynn, are you still here? Lynn, should I say who it is or should I not? You're a wise person. So, while I'm a bitchy person. So, Lynn, you tell me. Dondi says, thank you, Jax. You are awesome. But thank you for the nice words. Stan says, I know it's not Lynn Heartless. Oh my God. People will send me from time to time screenshots of crap that Lynn is saying in the Guilter groups. I don't get Lynn, and I don't get any Guilter on obsessing. I truly think Guilters obsess more on this case than supporters do. I really do. I mean, there are people that I think are guilty. All right. So people who are guilty. OJ Simpson is guilty. Staircase guy is guilty. What's her face in Florida that killed her daughter? Peterson. No, her name's not Peterson. What is her name? She's guilty. I don't follow those cases. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I know there's lots of people that are in all those things. Chris Watts, guilty. I'm not going to spend every day in those groups. Because they're guilty and they're in prison. Well, OJ's not anymore, but I don't care. I care about people who are incarcerated for something they didn't do. So, but I still think I don't obsess on it nearly as much as they do. And Lynn is just pathetic. Hi, Nicole. Lynn says, only say it if you're 100%. Well, I guess technically I would not be 100% because all I have to go off of is what Stephen told me. Will Stephen actually do it? I don't know. So, but I've also been told that Kathleen wants them removed as well. So, I don't know. I know what Stephen tells me. Will it happen? Tom says the woman's daughter in US was awesome and there was funny bits, but overall wasn't a fan of it. Oh, I liked it. I thought it was creepy. Casey Anthony, you're right, Rachel. Julie. Yeah, Julie knows. Brittany saying Casey Anthony. Yes, thank you, everybody telling me Casey Anthony's name. I couldn't remember her name, and I would rather forget her, period. Emily says, staircase guy is not guilty. It was Owl who did it. Laugh my fucking ass off. Yeah, we'll fight over that. It was not an owl. He's so guilty. He killed her and he killed the other woman in Germany or wherever it was. Deborah says, hey, Jax, did you see my post about people not giving Kathleen credit for her work? No, I did not. This mail, you and I know it was doing a live feed, and he said that Kathleen is not that good and that she is a loophole artist. I don't like when people talk shit about Kathleen. All right. If you're a supporter of Stephen wants Kathleen to be his attorney. Kathleen has an awesome record of freeing the wrongfully convicted. So unless your record can compare to hers, you should shut your mouth. All right? That's first and foremost. If you're somebody who's saying you're so close to Stephen, you shouldn't be talking shit about his attorney. You want to talk shit behind her back? In closed company? You do you, boo. But doing videos on it or posting it publicly for people to see, that's nasty. So, and the person incarcerated doesn't want to hear it. They don't want to hear you say bad things about their attorney. Their life depends on that attorney. Put yourself in their shoes. You really want to sit there and have somebody say, oh, she shouldn't have done this. She shouldn't have done that. I'm so much smarter than her. No, that's awful. So I will forever give Kathleen props for what she does. You're not going to see me ranting about Kathleen. People saying don't say it or say it. Kimberly says inbox us all the name. Lynn says that's the thing. We've been down that road a few hundred times this past few years. Absolutely, Lynn, because this wasn't the first time I went a long stretch without talking to Stephen. So, I guess I will know if they make posts announcing being all pissed off that this has happened to them, or if I get the letter in the mail to go on his visitors list. I don't know. So some people have figured it out. Anne says, totally get what you're saying about guilters. Same here. Don't understand the obsession reasons for hanging around. It's malevolence, pure and simple, I guess. Taylor says, hey, Jax, any idea on who wants to withdraw? People keep saying that it's Judge Flowers, but I have not seen any proof of that. So until we see something official, don't believe it. Laura says, don't say it. He confided in you. We don't need to know. Well, he actually told me to put their names out there. I chose not to. Emily said, I would wait until he takes that person off the list before you say anything. Anne says, somebody said on Twitter, the person withdrawing is one of Avery's old lawyers that she discovered they were officially still on the case from years ago. Oh, so then that would be, what's her face that Lynn told you who she was, and now I can't remember her name. Yeah, I thought she was removed a long time ago too, because she went on to work for the Innocence Project and was no longer working Kathleen's case. Trisha Bushnell. So then that's a nothing. So that may be it then, that they're just doing housekeeping on getting Trisha officially removed, thinking she was the whole time. And then people are seeing that, but playing the game of telephone, and then it becomes Judge Flowers. Randall says, loophole artist, give me a break. Ask Ryan Ferguson. She is a top attorney in her specialty. Yeah. And Ryan Ferguson moved to Chicago. So, but I don't know how to reach out to him, because I would love to do a Facebook Live with him and hear his thoughts on Stephen's case. I think that would be really interesting, because nobody knows what it's like to be in prison unless you're in prison. So, and to go through all that. So, I think it would be really interesting, but I don't do Twitter. And then when people see his Twitter, you have to be friends with him or whatever it is on Twitter to be able to message him, or I have no idea. But if any of you have contact with Ryan Ferguson, ask him to come live on Steven Avery Project and talk about Stephen's case. Would love to do that. People agreeing about Kathleen, that, she's awesome. Taylor says, sorry if it's been answered. I'm just curious if it's the judge who wants out. All right, I just talked about that. Kitty says, Zellner's track record speaks for itself. Paula is correct. Marianne says, just catching up here. Jax, you've been back in touch with Stephen by phone? Yes, Stephen called me on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. Deborah says, he says he gave Kathleen info, but she wasn't interested, but now she's using that info. Someone wants to credit. Is this Richard McAdams, who has the YouTube of Eric Rose or Eric Goes or whatever the frick it is? He's an imbecile. Don't listen to him. There's somebody talking about Trisha Bushnell. Emily says, you could probably reach out to him via Twitter or Instagram. I follow him in both. Well, go ahead and reach out on Steven Avery Project's behalf, Emily, please. And just let me know. Or if somebody needs to email, you can email the email is officialstevenaveryproject@gmail.com. Taylor says, what's your overall gut feeling on the court's next filing? Well, my overall gut feeling is always they're going to deny Stephen, especially when it's the same judge. It'll be denied. So it doesn't matter that everything that Kathleen is saying absolutely should be taken into account. But ew. Okay. Yeah, so it's not Richard McAdams. Deborah, he is the worst. So yeah, don't. No. That guy, Deborah, he earmuffs for people who hate bad language. Um, and earmuffs if you are listening to this and you have kids in the room. So he wanted me to promote his book, and I refused because he's making money off of Steven, and I don't promote that. And so then he called me you got your earmuffs on? He called me a cunt and said he was going to punch me in the face. He's lovely. So anyways, back to my gut is the state's always going to, or the court is always going to deny him as long as the same old characters are protecting each other. So, but Kathleen knows this. She always knows she's got to take it out of there. So just because the state court denies her on this, it doesn't mean it's over. She'll still go to the next court. Debbie says a live with Ryan would be incredible. Yeah, absolutely. Lynn says, yes, an interview with Ryan would be awesome. Lynn, do you have a way to reach out to him? Go for it. Randall says he is somewhat active on Instagram. He also has a Twitter account. It'd be hard to reach him through Twitter, though. So, all right. So I said I was going to be on for an hour. It's but an hour and 13 minutes, and now I am at the bottom. So I will end this live now. And I will read through the state's response again and pull out, make notes of what are the important things, and then I'll post what the important things are so people don't have to read all this. Plus, I have all the exhibits, so maybe we should get all the exhibits posted too. Because nobody's posted those yet. Not that there was really anything of interest in there, but maybe y'all want to see it. So Brittany asks, who's Ryan? Ryan Ferguson. If you want something to watch, look up Dream Killer. I think you can find it on YouTube. So that is a case about Ryan Ferguson, who Kathleen got out of prison. And you will see Kathleen in Dream Killer. It's only it's not a mini series or anything like that. Anne says, thanks for all the lives, Jax. Really appreciate your time. Tom says, thank you for going over this. Nicole says, thanks, Jax. So, yeah, so I'll end this now. I don't know when I'll be live next. We don't know for sure when we'll hear from anybody. If we hear from them, I always go live on Stephen Avery Project first when it is case stuff, because that's where we have the 198,000 people, so I can hit the bulk of the people. And then in gossip is where you guys get the extra stuff. So yes, Kristen, it's called Dream Killer. It's Dream/Killer in I don't know if that makes a difference in the searching of it. So, all right. Wait, Jessica says, hey, Jax, remind people to set a reminder and when you go live. Yeah, you can do that on the page. Jessica has told people how to do it before. I don't recall what it is to do. Because again, I'm not the tech person. Don't ask me on numbers. Don't ask me on tech stuff. I do not know. So, all right, I'm going to go and do nothing for a little bit until I have to go out late tonight and go put political signs up all around my town because the election's tomorrow. So this is the time where it's the final push of wanting people to vote for your candidates. So let's get those signs up now, and hopefully they're not stolen, because political signs always get stolen. So so putting it up the day before the election. So little bell on the right hand side, Ann says to hit the for reminders of when I go live. And I try to make a Facebook event if I know in advance I'm going to go live. But when it's the case stuff, it's like, oh my God, in the rush of trying to get it. So even like today, it was, I didn't know because I was doing other stuff, and somebody made posts on the page saying that the filing had been made. So then I was right away emailing the court asking for copies of it. And so then it was, well, you have to pay first. And so I had to pay $87, which is kind of a bummer now too, seeing, so like the one thing is public, that a news station put it out, and that's always going to happen anyway. But it's like, I just paid $87 for something, so I'm sure people are laughing at me that I just paid for that. But whatever. So, all right, now I'm really out. So enjoy the rest of your day. It is 5:13 p.m. here in Chicagoland and 48 degrees. Looking forward to hopefully getting some nice weather. So stay tuned. Things are always happening in the Steven Avery case.